Glad y'all are here today. I'm so excited that y'all are here. And those of you who aren't in the room but are watching online, hey, glad you're watching. Wish you were here. I'm excited about this season that we're in right now. And I'll explain a little bit more, but if you're new, this is the perfect time to just jump in, to be a part of what we're doing here. And in this, I'm gonna ask you a couple things because we started this last week, and we're in kind of 2 introductory weeks of this this journey called Seeds. And I'm gonna ask a couple things of you. One, for those of you who wanna join us in this, I wanna make sure that you get one of these guides and participate in this. If you grabbed one of these last week or the week before, and it's just sitting in your truck or on the floorboard or under stuff on your desk or whatever at home, and you're just like, yeah, whatever, just bring it back because other people want this, and we had a little delay in our shipping, and it'll be here later this week, but we want you to be a part of this. This is important, and this is gonna help guide us over the course of the next few weeks. And and then the second part of this is to be a part of this in a community with some other people. We've had multiple new communities, groups begin over the last couple weeks. We have plenty that are gonna be open, and so if you're interested in that, we want you to do that because we are better when we do this together, and this is how God's people have always done it. We gather together in homes around God's word, encouraging each other, praying for each other, and so we want you to do that. Get a guide, get in a group. It's important. Last week we started this theme of seeds, and seeds are mentioned all throughout the scripture. From the beginning, we talked about this last week, from Genesis all the way through Revelation. And we talked last week about the principle of the seed, and this week we're gonna talk more about process. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm like the vision person that can see what's to be in this future, and I can see it and describe it and all of that, but a lot of times I'm not real sure in how to get there, And there's always a process that's going on. And the older I've gotten, the more value I see in a process, because that's how you get to where you want to be. That's how you get to that desired future. And the thing with process is you ask yourself, you're like, how does this work? How do we get there? Which then leads to the place of going, I need help. I need help in understanding this. And so in that, in asking for help, it's a big deal, and it's kind of a problem for a lot of us. How many of you like asking for help? Anybody? We got one. Yeah, no. So here's the thing, Robert. Oh my gosh. Here's the thing with asking for help. It requires humility. It requires a lot of humility to ask for help. And saying I need some help figuring this out. And last month we talked about when we get to these places in life and these moments where we're making decisions and we need help in the right decision to make, and the fact that decisions determine our direction in life. And we make decisions all the time. And there are areas of our life where we're trying to figure it out, we need help. It might be, is this the best idea to purchase this house? I'm not really sure about that. Or maybe it's raising kids, toddlers, I need help in doing this. Or teenagers, I need help because I don't really know how to do this well. Maybe for some of you who are dating, and it's this question of I don't know, is this the one? Should I ask the question and pop the question this? Should I do this? Is this the right decision? We're looking for answers in life all the time. And the thing with this asking for help is there's a lot of deeper questions that we we need help with that go beyond what Siri or Alexa or Google can answer for us. A lot deeper questions. And if we humbly say, God, I need help, and we ask for direction, we ask for wisdom, he'll help us. Give me wisdom about what to do in my marriage because this is really hard. Give me wisdom on how to handle this problem person at work. Any of y'all have any of those? Give me direction on what to do because I'm thinking about starting a business or I'm thinking about changing my career completely. I need some help. Maybe it's help in knowing how to navigate conversations where there's going to be conflict involved. Anybody love some conflict? Any of us not love some conflict? Anybody? Okay, there we go. Yeah. So whatever the situation is, you're saying, like, I'm not sure how to handle this in these circumstances, and I need answers. Here's the thing. Jesus makes it really clear that Jesus has answers. He has answers. He has the answers to your questions. And so if you have a Bible, open it up to Matthew 13. We're gonna look at this today. Matthew 13, this is a parable. A parable is a story. It's a teaching technique that Jesus used a lot. He did this. He used real life stories to teach some challenging truths. And he loved to use parables because in that, these challenging truths, we shy away from it. If there's something that we don't agree with, we don't like, we kind of pull back from. Because, I mean, how many of y'all know, like, we want to be right all the time, you know? I mean, how many of us love to play the, armchair quarterback, and we're just like looking back and going, well, this is what I would do. Let me tell you about what I would do with the whole border situation, right? Let me tell you this is what I would do about the economy and what's going on. Today, it's Super Bowl Sunday. This is what I would do if I was Jerry Jones. Because we're not in the Super Bowl. I'd fire myself, Just saying, this is what I would do. That's what I would do. Track record's not going so well. So this parable that Jesus is sharing, it's actually a meta parable. It actually is how all the other parables work. And Jesus connects the dots between the answers to our questions and our ability to hear. I mean, how many of us know that just because we have 2 ears, we don't hear all the time? I'm notorious of this. I can be at home, I can be on my computer, and my wife can be right here, and I can be right here. And she can say things to me, and I will nod my head, and I'm like, yeah, and I go, and then there's no active listening, no like saying yes, and then repeating what she said, or saying, is that right, what you said? None of that. I'm just like, yeah, and then I just keep going, and then like within 30 minutes, I just did this like yesterday. I wasn't on my computer, but I was doing something else, and she goes, I just told you that like 5 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you just played it off like, oh, okay, I didn't, like, we don't hear. We can live life with these 2 ears, but not hear. And when it comes to asking these questions and hearing answers to our questions, it's all tied to seeds. If you look at this in Matthew 13, verse 1, the same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it while all the people stood on the shore. And then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on the rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil. This is key in all of this. God has the seed. Jesus is the seed. Jesus says there's no way to the Father except through me. And he's saying, like, this seed is going out. But then we have a part to play, and it has everything to do with the soil. Good soil. Still other seed fell on good soil where it produced a crop 160 or 30 times what was sown. So in this, just picture Jesus. These crowds are following, and there's so many people there that he gets into this boat and just pushes out away from the shore, and he's sitting there teaching, and there are just all of these people just listening. People from all different backgrounds, the whole religious group, the Pharisees, Sadducees, the Essenes, the zealots, the religious zealots that are like wanting their own thing. But then there's the uneducated, there's the poor, there's the tax collectors, there's the farmers, there's these disciples, his friends. So many different people with so many different life experiences, so many different backgrounds, different perspectives. And Jesus is telling them that some of this seed, it's going to do nothing. Some of it will get choked or burn up. Some of it will produce 10 times the amount of seed sown, 30, 60, 90, 100, just some will produce more than what was sown. So why the different results? Why does some of that seed produce more than others? And here's the thing in this. If we're not careful, we'll look at this and we'll focus in and we'll start playing this comparison game. We'll look at it because we do this all the time in life. We compare ourselves to other people. Well, am I doing better than them? Do I have more than her? Is he producing more than me? This parable isn't about comparison, it's about evaluation. How's my soil? My potential, your potential is directly tied to the soil. And God He is way more into my potential and your potential than we could ever imagine. But here's the catch. We get to choose our soil, every single one of us. We choose our potential. We can be as close to God as we want. We can lean into God as much as we want. You can have as good a soil as you want. There's potential the more we're connected to Jesus. Because in that, we'll be more confident of what's true. We'll be more secure in our identity. We'll be more sure of the decisions that we're making in life. We'll know why we're here, why God made us and put us here. I mean, looking at this, what if it, like to tell you, like, you have like this 100-time potential in you, but it's up to you to take care of the soil. So if we move past this whole comparison trap, then we start asking the question, go like, well, how do I have better soil? And Jesus makes it really clear. Whoever has ears, let them hear. Whoever has ears, let them hear. All of these people standing on this shoreline, they all had ears, but did they hear what he was saying? And just because you have the ability to hear doesn't mean that you hear. You may have 100x potential, but it does not mean that you'll live up to that. God is saying, I'm sowing seed through Jesus. I'm speaking. Who's listening? Like some of you here right now, some of you watching online, there's some questions in life that you really want answers to. And you're seeking that and you want to hear. And then there are others, to be real honest, I'm here. I showed up, I watched, but I don't really care about hearing. I'm gonna keep doing my own thing. Check a box, show up. It's just reality. And the problem with me personally is, and anyone who's close to me will tell you this because it's to a fault. I see potential in people all the time. I mean, I see it. I see it look people in the eyes. I see it. I watch. I listen. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if they only knew the potential in them. And over decades, I've seen people who they grow at such a rate, it's incredible. And it's because they want to hear. But then there's people that I am just perplexed. I'm like, I don't understand. Because there's some people who just settle, and they settle for dry, hard, know-it-all soil. People who go through life just punching the clock, getting a check, going to work, and living with no purpose, and not realizing the potential within them. And the thing about this that amazes me is that there are no qualifications on this. Age, education, ability, talents, giftedness. When it comes to soil, It all has to do with hearing. Having good soil, it has to do with hearing. So last week we talked about this, about focusing on the seed, not the fruit. Because we take care of the seed, we nurture it because we want to grow, we want to be open, we want to change. That's hard for some of us. And listen, we'll have more joy and be more content if we choose to love the process and not focus so much on the outcomes. So we talked about that. To focus on the seed is to care for the soil. And the older we get, the harder our soil becomes. I know better. I've been there, done that. Whatever. We think we know more. We become set in our ways. I turned 49 last month, and I was like, man, I don't feel old at all. But then I start to look at my life and some of the things and I'm like, man, I'm that old guy that's just like, nope, this is how it's gonna be. Huh? Nope. We have to ask ourselves, like, do I have ears to hear? And listen, do I have ears to hear? And if you say no, cool. But if you do want to hear, then you have to say, how does God speak? Because I need to hear him. And then we have to say, do I really believe that God speaks? Do I really believe that? I mean, do you believe that God is just up there playing hide and seek with stuff, or do you believe that he's speaking and sowing seeds? Which one? I can tell you, I'm guilty. Like, I cannot hear him. I get in a hurry and I get rushed and I do my own thing and I just put my head down and I'm not present. But man, if I do slow down, and if I lean in and I regularly, even throughout the day, try to hear, just this last week, toward the beginning of the week, I just spent some time in the morning, one of the mornings, and we had a lot going on with this Night to Shine and a lot of logistical things and just a lot. But I pulled aside for like 45 minutes in the morning and just like sat there, and all that kept coming to mind was like banquet, throwing this party for these people, throwing this party. And so I was like, and so then I found the scripture. Then Jesus said to the man who invited him, when you give a dinner or a banquet, don't invite your friends and family and relatives and rich neighbors. If you do, they'll invite you in return and you'll be paid back. When you give a feast, invite the poor, the paralyzed, the lame, and the blind. They cannot pay you back, but God will bless you and reward you when his people rise from death. I just sat there a little bit longer. And then it made me even think more, because everyone in here, I am ready for Jesus to come back. Because I know in that there's a new heavens and new earth. And I know that so many of our friends that struggle, and he says there's no more pain or suffering. He'll wipe away every tear. And that party that we had on Friday night, with new heavens and a new earth, our friends are dancing and walking and seeing and speaking and made whole. God speaks. Are we hearing? Are we listening? God's always speaking. He's actively speaking. We have to believe that he does. And so here's the process for good soil. First one is this: predetermined to fully submit to what he says. Ooh, this is tough. To pre-decide. I mean, a lot of times we say, I'm open, God, like whatever you want. But then, like, I'm in this dating relationship, and it's like, oh, but I really don't want you to talk to me about that. Not that. Don't mess with that. No. We say, God, I'm open, like, speak to me. And he's like, why don't you say something kind to your nemesis at work? No. That one was for you, Robert. I got him there. He's like, I gotta go now. Isn't that great? Or when it comes to our finances, it's just so hilarious to me. It's like we print in God we trust on our money, but then we don't give God any of our money. We're like, this is mine. Don't talk to me about that. I want this, and I want that, and I want this. And he's like, whoa, do you realize that I gave that to you? No, like, I don't want to pre-decide to fully submit to whatever it is that he says. I brought this up because we use this sometimes. Definition of disciple right here. Someone who increasingly submits every area of life to the lordship of Jesus. Every area of life. What's he saying? What's he saying? None of my life is off limits. So I'm going to predetermine to say, hey, if you're speaking to me about this, the answer to you is yes. I submit to you. The next part of this process is to filter it through the word. This is huge because everybody has an opinion. You know? Everybody has an opinion. Everyone thinks that their opinion is right and supreme and, and here's the problem. And it's just, our culture struggles with authority. We don't like it. We push against it. And hear me, there is an abuse of power that happens, okay? Especially with humans because we're sinful. But I will tell you that a lot of our authority issues come from not knowing this and understanding God's perspective. Like, I got an opinion. Well, guess what? He does too. And what God says to us in a moment will never contradict or violate this. But how many of us know, like, we like to judge other people, but we give ourselves the benefit of the doubt? And so we're like, I think I want to do this over here. And it's like, well, this over here says that's a bad idea. Well, I just, I want to do what I want to do. Okay, and we tell ourselves it's okay. The other one is discuss it with trusted voices. This is huge. Like, we need people in our life. Like, you need people in your life who love you, who love Jesus, who love this. What I'm seeing, I see this on both sides. Someone once said, love without honesty is hypocrisy. And honesty without love is brutality. And so we have people around us that if they don't love this, they'll let us do what we're doing and be like, follow your heart. Go for it. But real love comes and says, I love you and I want to encourage you, but I have to tell you this. And I'm close enough to you that you know that I love you. Like, we need that. And then we've got other people, they just don't love and they just go like beating everybody up with this. Jesus came in grace and truth. It's both. So in this, like, predetermine that you'll submit to what he says, filter it through the word, discuss it with trusted friends, and then continue taking steps while remaining open. Stay in this. Do you realize how freaked out you would get if God just showed you the whole plan of your life? You would say, no. No way. No. I can't tell you how often. Now, this is how I have to play this in my mind, and I write it in my journal all the time. If you look back through my journal, you'll see this different. I'll write this word, I'll say breadcrumb. because I'm just taking a step at a time. And so when he shows me something through his word, or something happens in a conversation, or I see something, I'll just write it down and be like, I'm taking a step. You show me this, I'm taking a step. Just give me the trail of breadcrumbs, just one step at a time, and staying open. And here's the thing, like even in my life right now, there are multiple things in my life right now that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But it's so crazy because I have this peace. Of knowing that I'm following him. I want to have wisdom, but we can't please God without faith either. And so it's just staying in the process and being open. It's about a relationship with a seed sowing God, and that we're hearing. How do you create a healthy environment to hear from God? A couple things on this as we wrap up today. One is we admit and overcome our bias. We all have biases. We all do. As human beings, we're constantly creating narratives. We're making meaning of what's going on around us. And we have perspectives. Look at the definition of cognitive bias right here. The way a particular person understands events, facts, and people based on their own particular set of beliefs and experiences that may not be reasonable or accurate. Have you ever come into a situation with someone in a circumstance and you just walk away and you're like, well, and then come to find out there's a whole lot more to the story than what was going on. And we make judgments and we have this bias. I mean, you get someone who is young and they get married. They're like, let's do this. Let's go to Vegas. We'll get married. Like, let's do it, you know? And then divorce happens. And then they just and then guess what? Not ever getting married. Marriage is bad. It's horrible. Y'all know anybody like that? Don't raise your hand. No, just kidding. Just kidding. No. But really, like that experience created a bias. Like this is how I see this. I meet people all the time who church hurt. It's a real thing. I mean, if anybody knows church hurt, I do. Okay? It's very real. But then what that does, listen to me, when we have these biases, they build up, and we build up these walls, and then guess what happens? We don't want to hear what God's saying. Well, a church over here, and this church, and church. Guess what? When Jesus comes back, it's the church. It's going to be with him forever. The church as in people, followers of him. Our biases damage our soil. They can. And what's crazy is technology, with how great it is, and we can see what's going on. Guess what? It narrows down what we see. Because you know that your feed looks exactly like the things you're interested in. And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And we become jaded, we become critical, and it makes our soil unhealthy and harder. So we have to acknowledge this and humble ourselves, own it, and how our biases, how they impact our ability to hear from God. The next one of these is that we evaluate our busyness. We talk about this a lot here. Just slowing down, not trying to cram more in, not thinking we have to do everything, being more efficient, doing more in less time. Activity and productivity, it doesn't mean that we're really doing anything that matters. And I think that's the question that we all need to look and go like, is all of this stuff, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Because some of us are too busy holding on to this life that we have, and we're like, well, I got this. I'm doing pretty good over here. And God's saying like, well, do you understand? You don't even know what I have for you because you're too busy holding on to what you have. Thinking this is it. Like you're not saying, God, what do you want? Well, I got this going on. I got that, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He's like, whoa. Like 100x potential, but I'm going to sit over here and be like, oh, I got my life here. I'm good. We get to that place, we can't hear from God because we're so busy doing this stuff. This is why I'm going to keep beating this drum over and over and over. I've been doing it now for years. Sabbath. God created in 6 days, and he rested. But we think, oh no, I got more to do. He's the creator, we're the created. We rest. Silence and solitude, like taking these things out of our ears, putting away all the technology, just quiet, no noise. Guess what? You'll be able to hear from God. The last one here is we believe God's working even when we can't see it. Even when we can't see it. This is hard because we love instant gratification. We love it. We love it. We keep watering. We keep believing. We keep cultivating the soil. Look at this picture real quick. And I'm going to wrap up. Like the seed, when it goes down, it takes time. It's going down to get water. So then it can then grow up towards the light. But it takes time. And the seed is powerful. It's like perfect. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to pray this prayer because like with a seed is like hard enough that it can go down in the ground and it can withstand the pressure, but then it's also soft enough to germinate. I have to pray this prayer a whole lot. God, give me thicker skin, but a soft heart. Don't ever let my heart get hard so I can't hear you. God's speaking. The question is, do you have ears to hear? Do you have the ability to receive what God says? Isaiah 55 here, my word, God says this, my word that goes out from my mouth, it will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. Do you realize that he is speaking to you? Do you want to allow him to do something in you that has everything to do with your purpose and what he wants for you? But it only happens with ears to hear. So I want you to take a second. I want you to bow your heads and I want you to think about this. Our ability to fully fulfill our purpose here on this earth, which is so short. Life here is not a competition. This is an opportunity for us to fulfill the purpose of why we're here, why God put us here. Now, I want you to think about a couple things in this. How has the enemy, what has he done in the past to mess up your soil. And like even right now, where is it hard? Where is he working? Because he has a plan to just keep the soil of your life hard and rocky, because he doesn't want anything to grow up from that. He wants you to feel stuck. Your enemy does. There's a couple different things. I want you to think about them. For some of you have gone through life and you have some losses, some really hard losses, and you have not grieved them. You have ungrieved losses, things in your life where you had expectations and it doesn't seem like God came through in the way that you wanted him to. And the brokenness of this world, that loss, it is damaged the soil. For some of you too, there are these unhealed wounds. People have hurt you. And the enemy just wants that hurt and that pain, the sadness, the anger. He wants it to stay in your life. He doesn't want anything to grow. And the last thing is these false beliefs, these lies that he loves to plant in our lives. And some of us are carrying these lies year after year, decade after decade, because he doesn't want you to grow. He doesn't want you to reach this potential. What are those lies? And are you willing to come to this place of just opening up and just saying, God, I want to hear. I want to hear. Some of you have been trying to fix the garden of your life in this soil without the seed of Jesus. And he is the seed that bears life. And for some of you today, just this understanding that Jesus is exactly who he said he was, that he was God, that he was there in the beginning. He came here to walk this life, live in this broken world, and to walk it out perfectly, all on this mission of love, to give his life as a sacrifice, because we're all messed up. We've all done things and we can't fix ourselves. We need a Savior. And we need someone to save us from ourselves and our sin. And that is Jesus, and he died and he rose from the dead. He's alive and he will return. He is King, he is Lord, and whoever trusts him, he'll make us new. It's all about faith in him, trusting him and what he wants to do. God, thank you for today. Thank you for your word. And I ask that you would continue to help us, by your grace, help us hear, help us have ears to hear, and then for us to obey, for us to follow through and trust you and follow you. And I pray this, Jesus, in your name. Amen. Would y'all stand and sing with us? I'll be down here at the front. If anyone needs prayer this morning, I'll be down here.
This is I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better, your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better, your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better, your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better, your way is better. I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, and I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Where I lay it down, you are all I'm chasing now. This is my surrender, this is my surrender.
Y'all go ahead and take a seat. I want to just touch on a few things with the seeds things. The first thing is the books. If you have not gotten a book yet, but you do want one, I have some on the way, but I would love to order more if we need more. And so if you need a book, will you either call or text me, email me, however, or just put it on the Connect card, just your first name, phone number, and then in that comment, wherever it fits, just say, I need a book. Because I want to make sure that everybody gets one if they want one. The second part of that is I don't want you to have a book and not have a community. These things need to go hand in hand. You need help tending your soil. You need help encouraging you as we're doing all of this. And so if you want to be put in community, the same thing with that Connect card. Go ahead and just say, I need community, or reach out, or start your own if you have friends that you want to do it with. So let me know those two things. We really just want everybody to do it. That's why I keep ordering more books, because you keep taking them. It's been really exciting. But let's talk about seeds for a second. Fun thing about seeds is it's a lot of faith. It's a lot of doing the work without really knowing how it's going to end up. And I think that kind of ties into giving too. We give to the Lord. We're asked to do that. We get to do that faithfully. It's an act of obedience. And we don't really know what's going to happen with that. And so I'm just going to encourage you to just take that step of faith. And if you haven't done it yet, Drew, right here, would love to talk to you about that, or Ronnie, whenever he gets back in here. But we have an opportunity to just go before the Lord and say, here it is. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I'm going to trust that you're going to do something good with it. And then you just get to watch it. And so I just want to encourage you to do that if that's something that's new. the last thing is next steps. I really want to encourage you to come over. I want to get to know you. I want to tell you everything about One Life and see where you fit and how to get you plugged in. And so if you can just spare just 30 minutes or so, we'll just go right across the hall and get to know each other. That's it for us. Go sports. Go Usher, Taylor Swift, whatever. The Chiefs. Go Chiefs.